host Marvin Gaye Chetwynd. I'm an artist. I'm quite well known for making performances. The exhibition here at the CCA in Glasgow, it's called Uptight, Upright, Upside Down. The ideas I gathered were linked to Carnival, and I think it's very exciting, the inside out, upside down time of Carnival. It's a contained area of time where you are allowed to let off steam and then you all feel relieved and go back to work. I thought I'd like to work with sexuality and continue this series of videos I've been making called Hermito's Children. I'm now making Hermito's Children 3, and so I wanted to do a dream sequence and use the CCA main room as a kind of film studio and make a sort of beautiful set where this filming could happen. So we've mainly tried to explain the Hermito's Children film series and the way I work within this show, because it's the first show I've made since moving to Glasgow. The references I'm drawing on are film references. One of them's Videodrome by Cronenberg, one of them's The Purple Rose of Cairo by Woody Allen. And I'm really interested in mixing those two sources with the 1700s erotic art called shunga. The acceptance of pleasure in sex is really important to me within this show. For the performance, I came up with this quite intense pose that was one person's held upside down and about 4 people hold the person up and lift them. That pose was really appropriate because the title of the show is actually Uptight, Upright, Upside Down. There was this just ridiculous moment where I was being held upside down and had a microphone and I was shouting instructions and we were trying to make a film, and it just felt so satisfying that not only was I an outspoken woman, but I was nude, painted red and upside down and still being just as bossy as if I'd been the right way round wearing clothes. There's a really lovely story in the Shungan research, and it's the story of a sun goddess who has an argument somehow and huffs off and hides in a cave. So all her fellow gods and creatures and demons gather outside the cave and they try to entice her out by making a ridiculous striptease to the point where they're all crying with laughter. And then she is too curious, so she peeks out because she can't resist seeing what they're doing. And because she's peeked out, the sun comes back. And everyone was very excited about miming that story. My aim and idea was to allow the audience to sort of get lost within the many different elements that were being presented to the point where they just gave up and just didn't know or care what was going on. Amateurism, in my opinion, is something that's quite refreshing, and it means that something isn't rehearsed to death. And I would say that there's a room for spontaneity and all the things that I love, like being irreverent and playful, come within that. And I love fringe theatre, and I absolutely love people sort of doing it for themselves, like DIY culture. So actually that links to Glasgow, I'd say. There's a really long tradition and acceptance of DIY culture within Glasgow. There's a very good art scene. I think it does come from people moving here for the art colleges. So there's Glasgow School of Art and the MFA. At the moment, I'd say it's a really healthy mixture of this DIY tradition, as it were, where people can feel quite liberated and put on shows themselves. Scotland's really inspiring. It's an incredibly geographically intense place. The light up here is extraordinary. The landscape's extraordinary. I think it's a really, really good city for artists.